We keep moving forward, opening new doors, doing new things because we are curious, and curiosity keeps us leading down new paths. Walt Disney. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome you to the 3-day International Virtual Conference on Gender Studies organized by the Department of English in collaboration with Cape Comorin Trust. My name is Jolcy Abraham, and I will be moderating this session today. Here are just some guidelines that the participants are humbly requested to keep in mind to ensure the smooth functioning of our program. The audience are requested to mute your audio and video once you join the Google Meet platform. Participants are requested to join the meeting before 15 minutes of time. All the questions that are intended for the Q&A session are to be posted in the chat box addressing it to everyone. It is a mark of our undying tradition to invoke the Almighty at the beginning of an important event. Let's start this session with a silent prayer. BK College is a women-only institute, but we have always placed great importance on raising students with a sound and balanced gender sensitivity. A college founded on the vision of Venerable Thomas Kurialasheri, who dreamt of empowering women through education. BK College has been a beacon of hope in countless lives. Achieving gender equality requires the engagement of women and men, girls and boys. It is everyone's responsibility. This 3-day international webinar series will focus on gender stereotypes, gender and culture, development literature by focusing on the strengths and weaknesses of various approaches in explaining the impact of development in women's status. This virtual conference initiates an exciting new chapter in the history of the English department, advancing the college towards the promise of its future. I request Dr. Sister Manju Jacob, Head of the Department of English, a dedicated and committed professional, to formally welcome the gathering.
Thank you, Jolcy. A very good morning to one and all present here. Reverend Dr. Sister Mercy Nedumburam, Manager of BK College, Dr. Lena Matthew, Principal BK College, Dr. Sk Romini, the guest speaker, Associate Professor and Head of the Department, Interdisciplinary Studies, Tamil Nadu University, Reverend Sister Lily Rose, Administrator, BK College, Dr. R.S. Regin Silvers, President, Cape Comorin Trust, Dr. Shufra Jamla, President, Dr. Moore Roshan, Co-Convener, Sister Aji Joseph, Vice Principal, BK College, Dr. Jinita Varghese, IQAC Coordinator, distinguished guests, members of Cape Comorin Trust, delegates, teachers, and dear students. I stand before you this auspicious morning with a grateful heart. Though we are in the midst of COVID pandemic, today we all have gathered here to discuss about a very important topic, gender studies, which is the most vehemently discussed issue with significant implications. Before moving to my duty, it is a necessity to introduce our college to you. Yes. Bishop Kurialasheri College for Women is named after Venerable Ma Thomas Kurialasheri, a Brazilian visionary who championed the cause of education and empowerment of women at a time when the world has barely started thinking about it. This Center of Learning was founded by Sisters of the Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament in 1965 with the noble goal of shaping young women into empowered citizens through value-based education. This college, which opened the vistas of higher education to women, now distinguishes itself as an institution in the vanguard of women's education in the nation. Our key principle is the belief that by educating women, we educate a whole generation. The college is a government aided college and is affiliated to the Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam. We scored A plus grade in the fourth cycle of the NAC assessment process in 2019 and the 18th position in the NIRF ranking. These initiatives are for the sustenance and enhancement of the quality for all stakeholders in an effort to keep abreast of the changing paradigms in the educational scenario. The Department of English, which started functioning in 1965 as part of this college, marches on with purposeful strides. The motto of the department is each for all and all for each. We are committed to doing our best to help the students face life with dignity and confidence. Gender studies allows people in different social environments to solve gender-related conflict by providing a common understanding regarding gender identity and relationships. It studies how men and women are the same and ways in which they differ. Gender studies enables an understanding of each gender's needs and the unique contributions each gender makes to society. It asks what it means to make a gender salient, bringing a critical eye to everything from labor conditions to healthcare access to popular culture. Gender is never isolated from other factors that determine someone's position in the world, such as sexuality, race, class, ability, religion, region of origin, citizenship, life experiences, and access to resources. Beyond studying gender as an identity category, the field is invested in illuminating the structures that naturalize, normalize, and discipline gender across historical and cultural contexts. Against this backdrop, we have assembled here to know more about the topic with many eminent speakers lined up for the seminar. Let me get into the pleasant task of welcoming you all to this happy occasion. Our manager, Reverend Mother Mercy Nedumpuram, is the president of this inaugural meeting. We owe much to this gracious and graceful presence. It is her vision and inspiring support that fills us with the strength and sense of purpose. Dear Reverend Mother, on behalf of the college and especially the Department of English, I welcome you cordially to this function. I am happy to welcome our dear principal, Dr. Lena Matthew, to this gathering. I acknowledge her encouragement on all the occasions we needed it. On behalf of all present here, I welcome you heartily, dear Miss. The guest speaker of the day is Dr. Sk Romini, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. I extend a hearty welcome to you, dear ma'am.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister.
Welcome, ma'am. It is my honor to welcome Dr. R.S. Regin Silvest, President of Cape Comorin Trust, whose generosity and support made this conference a reality. With a grateful heart, I welcome you, dear sir. I am happy that This occasion is graced by Dr. Subra Jambal, President, and Dr. Mo Roshan, co-convener, Cape Comorin Trust. On behalf of all gathered here, I extend to you hearty welcome. Sister Aji Joseph, Vice Principal of BK College, is a source of strength and support. Dear sister, a warm welcome to you. Dr. Jinida Vagis, IQSC Coordinator of BK College, is the perfect picture of all that we expect in an empowered woman academic. Dear Miss, I extend to you an affectionate welcome. The conference will be judged a success based on the enthusiasm and interest of the participating team. I welcome our participants from all across the country who responded to our invitation. May you find this an inspiring experience. My dear colleagues in the department, especially my dear Ms. Rekha, and all teachers from our college, help us make this dream a concrete and fruitful reality. An affectionate welcome, dear ones. To all my students and friends, a loving welcome to each and every one of you. I'm sure that you all will feel enriched with the knowledge after completion of this event. I welcome you all once again to the seminar and hope that you all will have a great time ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sister.
Thank you.
If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. This quote best describes our beloved principal, Dr. Lena Matthew. The BK fraternity is a witness to her excellent leadership of seeking the best for our institution and its stakeholders. Under her leadership, the institution has been ranked for its excellence by peers and other accrediting institutions. She has persistently worked towards raising our standards of education and moving it toward perfection. It is my absolute pleasure to call upon our respected principal, Dr. Lena Matthew, to inaugurate this 3-day international virtual conference on gender studies and for the inaugural address.
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to deliver the inaugural address on the occasion of the 3-day international virtual conference on gender studies conducted by the Department of English in association with Cape Comorin Trust, the IQAC, and UBA cell of Bishop Kuryalashetty College for Women, Amalagiri, Kottayam, Kerala, India. And I'm very happy that the Cape Comorin Trust India and Cape Comorin Publisher India has put in so much of initiative, so much of interest in order to organize this conference. At the outset, let me congratulate the Department of English, headed by Dr. Sister Manju Jacob, Department of English, and all the faculty members of the department for this venture. I wish the 3-day international conference all success. The IQAC and UBA cell of BK College is much involved in conducting such webinars. On behalf of BK College, it's my honor to once again welcome you all to this conference. The manager of our college, Reverend Dr. Sister Mercy Nedumbaram, SABS, will be delivering the presidential address. Dr. R.S. Regin Silvest is the founding president of the trust. The keynote speaker of the session is Dr. Sk Romini, associate professor and head of the Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. Also, plenary session 1 is handled by Ms. Sacha Kaluri, who's an international motivation speaker from Australia. Felicitations will be offered by the administrator of our college, Reverend Sister Lily Rose, SABS, and also the IQAC coordinator of BK College, Dr. Jinita Varghese. Once again, I welcome you all to this international conference. And I declare the conference is inaugurated. As I understand, the rest of the technical session in day one is paper presentations. And I sincerely wish that all these areas of discussion should come out with concrete suggestions based on gender studies. As we all know, gender studies is an area of much relevance in the current scenario. It is an area with much interdisciplinary relevance and involves highly debated issues. All aspects of feminist politics, gender and democracy are highlighted areas of discussion. Research and innovation in the field of gender studies will come out with thought-provoking conclusions which should have practical relevance. I sincerely feel that all such programs should have practical relevance in day-to-day living. The feminist ideologies and the interpretations should have close association in the context of family. That's what I sincerely feel. Family is a basic foundation from where goodness flows into society, and societal well-being depends upon the value base of the younger generation, and it has to come from family. So I strongly feel that gender studies of any kind, whatever, of any varied dimension and networking should give prime concern to the aspect of family. And we know that all kind of gender studies starts with interrelationship between man and woman, and that is the base behind all gender studies. That's what I feel. Feminist ideologies should always be able to discern the rights of women, but keeping family as a prime concern. Any kind of intellectual research and any kind of reasoning should always keep in mind the traditions of Indian society upholding values and ethics as the first concern. I will be failing in my duty if I do not thank Cape Comorin Trust, which was formed with the aim of education and charity. Our sincere respect to the founding president, Dr. R.S. Regent Silvest. Our sincere thanks and acknowledgement to the Cape Comorin Trust, which symbolizes humanitarianism and integrity. The academic interest which has been shown by the trust has distinguished the Cape Comorin Trust throughout the world as a facilitator in organizing conferences and enabling publications. I wish the trust all success and the best of the initiatives to the academic world. Once again, wishing the 3-day International Virtual Conference the very best. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your words of wisdom, and thank you for inaugurating a 3-day International Virtual Conference on Gender Studies. The management of BK College is actively involved in planning and implementing innovative programs for the development of the students and the society. It has always held the lamp of learning high with its motto, Accendere Lumen, to kindle the light. I cordially invite our respected manager, Dr. Sister Mercy Nedumpuram, a visionary and a prudent planner, to deliver the presidential address.
Thank you, Jalsi. Good morning to one and all present here. Dr. Leena Matthew, Principal, BK College, Amgiri. Reverend Sister Lily Rose, former Principal and Administrator, BK College. Dr. Sk Romini, Dr. R.S. Regent Silvest, Founding President, Cape Comorin Trust. Dr. Shubhra Jamwal, President. Dr. Morvej Roshan, Co-Convener. Sister Aji Joseph, Vice Principal, BK College. Dr. Sister Manju Jacob, Head of the Department of English, BK College. Dr. Jinita Varghese, IQAC Coordinator, BK College. Distinguished guests, members of Sk Romini Trust, delegates, and my dear students. It is a happy occasion for Bishop Kuryalaseri College for women. The Department of English is organizing an international seminar. The college is the realization of the vision of Venerable Mar Thomas Kurialaseri, the first native bishop of Changanassery, who had noble dreams of empowering women. His farsightedness prompted him to look into the future, and he saw, even centuries back, the real development will come only when women come to the forefront in the domestic, social, educational, and economic fronts. This seminar has its focus on gender studies, a vital theme that to be addressed if the nation has to progress. The history of gender studies looks at the different perspectives of gender. This discipline examines the ways in which historical, cultural, and social events shape the role of gender in different societies. The field of gender studies, while focusing on the differences between men and women, also looks at sexual differences and less binary definitions of gender categorization. After the universal suffrage revolution of the 20th century, the women's liberation movement of the 1960s and 1970s promoted a revision from the feminists to actively interrogate the usual accepted versions of history as it was known at the time. It was the goal of many feminist scholars to question original assumptions regarding women's and men's attributes, to actually measure them and to report observed differences between women and men. Initially, these programs were essentially feminist, designed to recognize contributions made by women as well as by men. Soon, men began to look at masculinity the same way that women are looking at femininity, and developed an area of study called men's studies. It was not until the late 1980s and 1990s that scholars recognized a need for study in the field of sexuality. This was due to the increasing interest in lesbian and gay rights, and scholars found that most individuals will associate sexuality and gender together rather than as separate entities. Although doctoral programs for women's studies have existed since 1990, the first doctoral program for a potential PhD in gender studies in the United States was approved in November 2005. In 2015, Kabul University in Afghanistan became the first university to offer a master's degree course in gender and women's studies. Gender roles influence a wide range of human behavior, often including the clothing a person chooses, the profession a person pursues, the personal relationship a person enters. Various groups, most notably feminist movements, have led efforts to change aspects of prevailing gender roles that they believe are oppressive or inaccurate. This conference on gender studies will discuss relevant and connected topics from interdisciplinary areas. I appreciate Dr. Lena Matthew, Principal, and Dr. Sister Manju Jacob, Head of the Department of English, and all the colleagues on their efficient and smooth organization of the seminar in association with Kate Cormoran Trust for the tremendous effort and commitment in taking up challenges on this sort. May God bless you and inspire you to perform better as years go by, and may the department reach greater heights in future. There are many faculty members and research scholars here to present papers regarding the topic. I welcome you all and wish you the very best. I'm sure that you all will feel enriched with knowledge after completion of this event. I thank Dr. R.S. Sylvester and other members of the Common Trust for your valuable support during this endeavor. On behalf of the college, I gratefully acknowledge your generosity. I wish you all a happy time with us. I wish the 3-day virtual conference all success. Thank you.
Thank you, sister, for your encouraging and inspirational words and your words of wisdom. In spite of the pandemic bringing enormous difficulty, the administrator of BK College, Reverend Sister Lily Rose, has envisioned a path to ensure that the functioning of the college excels through all its challenges. I cordially invite Reverend Sister Lily Rose for the felicitation.
Esteemed guests, dear friends, I feel happy to speak a few words on this joyous occasion. The Department of English, the IQAC and UBSL of BK College, and the Sk Romini Trust are jointly hosting an international webinar in the virtual mode, and they have chosen a theme of perennial relevance, namely gender studies. It is the right effort in right time. I am sure that this webinar will throw light on the various facets of the trust area, dealing with the intersections of gender with race, nationality, socio-economic class, ability levels, sexuality, and additional dimensions of gender differences. We have experts from various fields, and we look forward to stimulating presentations and deliberations. I welcome you all to this virtual feast. I would like to request the participants to make the best of this opportunity. I wish this academic exercise the very best. I congratulate the Department of English, especially the head Dr. Sister Panchi Jacob, who is also the organizing secretary of this excellent initiative. I also congratulate the student coordinators and all other members of the organizing committee. May God bless all those who are involved in this venture. Thank you all.
Thank you, sister, for your encouraging words. Next, I would like to call upon Dr. Janita Verghese, IQAC coordinator, for the felicitation.
A warm good morning to one and all present here. Distinguished dignitaries, delegates, colleagues, and dear students. I'm really happy and proud that the Department of English, Bishop Kuryalasheri College for Women, Amalagiri, is organizing a 3-day international virtual conference on gender studies in collaboration with Sk Romini Trust and also in association with the Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Unnat Bharat Abhiyan Cell. The topic is of real importance and relevance in this current global scenario. Hence, I congratulate the coordinators of this webinar, this seminar, for the selection of this very good topic. The National Assessment and Accreditation Council also emphasizes the importance of gender studies in its accreditation procedures. An event of this magnitude becomes a success only when each of us puts in our best. Let us resolve to do the utmost and to make the best of this academic endeavor. I wish all of you a stimulating academic experience in Bishop Kuryalasheri College through this virtual platform. Once again, congratulating the members of Department of English, Bishop Kuryalasheri College, and also members and organizers of authorities of Sk Romini Trust. Let me conclude. Thank you.
Before starting my introduction regarding our keynote speaker for today's session, I would like to welcome you once again, ma'am. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being here with your gracious presence now.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would like to introduce our chief guest, the keynote speaker for today's program, Dr. Sk Romini. We have an enlarged profile, so I'm just going to brief it out in front of the audience. Dr. Sk Romini at present is working as Associate Professor and is the head of the Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. Since 2003, she has served as research assistant in projects sponsored by Indian Council of Medical Research at Sri Avanashilingam Education Trust Institutions, Coimbatore, and projects sponsored by the World Health Organization at Vector Control Research Center, Pondicherry. She has been awarded a PhD in sociology with specialization in gender studies and social gerontology from Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. She has shouldered various administrative and academic responsibilities. She's a life member in Indian Sociological Society. She's a member in the Ethic Committee for Human Research at Tamil Nadu Government Multi-Super Speciality Hospital, Chennai. She's a member of the Academic Senate of the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. She has published 20 articles in national and international journals. She has organized various seminars and workshops and presented over 50 papers. We are very happy to have you, ma'am, in our webinar series as our keynote speaker. I wish for you to take over the session, ma'am. We are eagerly waiting to listen to you.
Thank you. I'll start presenting. Just a second. Is my PPT shunned?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. A very happy day and a happy morning to all present here for the 3-day International Virtual Conference on Gender Studies. I thank the Almighty for this wonderful opportunity and my heartfelt wishes to all the speakers and organizers for the successful conduct of the conference. Gender studies, as all of us know, is a concept which is being widely explored in various angles. But not only in India, worldwide, the prevailing gender inequalities in the societies, in spite of the various legal mechanisms to protect a particular gender, in specific women, as such, gives rise for us to conduct webinars or conferences like this, where we are to fight for our human rights. So here, this topic, what I'm going to present for today on gender inequality, a social-legal perspective, will analyze the societal transformation which has been experienced not only in India, as I mentioned, yes, worldwide gender inequalities is prevailing, but here I'm going to be in particular to Indian society, where we are traveling towards both traditionality and modernity. How the transformation has taken place in the traditional setup of the society of what we were from the day one where the society has evolved and the day of what we are now, where we have reached to all various developments as we call it as technological advancement and so on. Indian society, we know very well, culture and traditions are too specific and mainly to the Hindu religion, where it play a major role in legitimizing the subordinate position of women, no doubt about it. So here, my presentation will give a brief account of the status of women from ancient times to contemporary situation and how gender injustice is still prevailing in our socialization system based on the age-old customs and the traditions which are still discriminatory in nature. if we take our society as such, if it is a male child, the child has been thought to be very strong, dominating, and aggressive in nature, and henceforth they are being assigned laborers' work to do for managing accordingly. But at the same time, on the other hand, a female child is being thought to be very sensitive, loving, and caring, and therefore she is being assigned to manage household work, child nurturing, and motherhood related responsibilities. Since the inception of human society, women have been given equal contribution in maintenance as well as sustenance of human society through the means of procreation, socialization, and management of household chores. But despite of this fact, the role played by women and women themselves are also described as inferior to men. And as most of the religious texts connote two different things. Women as a sex category means a biological being whose body makeup and attributes are different from that of a man. And in terms of gender category, a woman is a social being who, from cultural and social point of view, is expected to behave in a certain manner which makes them look inferior to men. Or put in other words, as sex category, they are being distinguished from men on the basis of their biological reproductive attributes. And among the marginalized sections of the society, women are considered to be the most vulnerable. They suffer from multiple disadvantages, such as of being culturally and socio-economically marginalized and sharing the gender-based inequalities and subordination. In India, women are denied access to power and socio-economic status, and the responsibility of household work is expected to be fulfilled by women, no matter how great a woman's achievements are there in the field of sports, corporate sector, science and technology, or business. And the prevailing socio-economic, cultural, and religious factors all combine to produce a psychological belief system that considers a woman weaker than a man. So this vulnerable situation of women and the challenges faced by women have the roots both in the traditional sources and contemporary changes. So, highlighting the position of women in Indian society, though women have been achieving so much, but we cannot forget what was the status of women from the day one the society has evolved. From ancient times, Indian women have been seen as the responsibility of others, whether as daughters, wives, or mothers. She is always expected to be, if we take the Manu, where it is very clearly stated that as a young child, she has to be under the control of the parents, as she is married, under the control of the husband, and in old age, under the control of her son, especially the elder son. So women enjoyed more freedom in the very early Vedic period, that is from 2500 to 500 BC. But the condition of women deteriorated in the later Vedic period. The status of women deteriorated considerably during the post-Vedic period, that is 500 BC to 500 AD. When it comes upon marriage of a wife, effectively became part of a husband's property, and the caste laws were also rigidly enforced on her. And we all know child marriage started gaining prominence, which had resulted in decline of female education as girls were married very early. And during this time, sati system, we all know as self-sacrifice of a widow on the husband's prey, was a very common practice. And this practice was more predominant wherever Brahmins were in majority, mainly in the northern part of India. And it was during the Muslim rule, the Parda system was enforced on women to protect from them. After the British, after the Mughals, you had the British rule in India, had both negative as well as positive impact on the position as well as the condition of women. Among the positive measures, abolition of sati in 1829 and sanction of widowhood remarriage in the year 1856 and the reforms of female education in the year 1850 must be accounted. Among the negative measures, the most prominent was the expansion of dowry system. Moreover, due to poverty as well as economic compulsions, women were being also thrown into prostitution during that time. Thus, historically, if you see, religious norms have been very important in defining the appropriate gender behavior between men and women. Many moral norms of religious groups and are gender specific. That is, separate expectations they give for women and men. They have their own personal laws. So here, religion-shaped norms which are pertaining to the sexual behavior. For example, treating women's extramarital sexual activity as a more serious violation than that of men's. So here it is influenced norms of physical activities, entertainments, drink or dress, etc. A woman is considered to be good. It is more like if she has covered herself, veiled herself, or screened from the view that than a good man. So putting all these scenarios into consideration, religion has also legitimized gender discrimination in work roles, home responsibilities, child care responsibilities, education, marriage responsibilities, and the legal status. It is after independence, equal rights were given to women as per the fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy, which had come into effect on the 26th January 1950. And along with that, we had other legislations which had been for improving the status of women, like the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955, the Hindu Succession Act of 1956, the Prohibition of Dowry Act of 1961, the Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1978, and many more. But unfortunately, though we have all these laws in existing, all measures and policies had limited impact on gender inequality and female empowerment in India. It is because of the certain cultural constraints which are prevailing in our country. And it is also here to mention the reasons like dowry, early marriage, preferences for child, female feticide are still prevalent in Indian society, besides having acts enacted to protect the rights of women. So moving into the contemporary situation. So what is as such the scenario of women? Though we talk that yes, women have developed, I no doubt say the development is taking place. We can't say there is 100% development for women in specific. Moving on to the various positive developments which have took place to achieve greater gender equality. Most among all else is the increasing age at marriage for girls from 15 to 18 in order to facilitate them to achieve greater education levels. Yes, the age at marriage has really facilitated the women to marry at the right age. But still, is the trend prevailing throughout the nation? Means no. Still, we have heard or we have even seen marriages taking place below the legal age of marriage. And mainly in the rural setup, this is very commonly taking place. And also particularly in the northern parts of India. So when the legal age of marriage has raised to above 18, people started having nuclear families, due to which women of the house need like less time to spend in their reproductive and childcare activities. One point I forgot to mention. It's like the aged marriage had given her chances to enrich herself in the education sector. Her education level started to raise. Yes. So when this educational level started to raise, she had a chance to go in search of job. Yes. Majority of the Indian women are working, but we have equally other proportion of women who are still held up in domestic chores alone. So women who had educated, they started to search for job and set up nuclear families, due to which women of the house need to spend very less time in reproductive and childcare activities as compared to the previous scenario, because this activity was attached only to the women as such. So government has also taken numerous initiatives to ban certain customs and traditions which contribute to the exploitation of women. But despite of all these positive developments, there are number of enduring cultural constraints which prevent these developmental measures from translating into true gender equality. Okay, I put it again, true gender equality. The cultural constraints are still, we are traveling along with the cultural constraints. Yes. So there are various studies which have been conducted based on gender studies. If you go to the National Family Health Survey, NFHS data, okay, where it shows that women who are aged between 15 to 24, including both in the rural and urban areas, still marriages start taking place below the legal age of marriage. And they have the first child in the very first year of marriage. And this is something which is something a bit paining to hear. Such scenarios are taking place in contemporary situations. And although we know very well female illiteracy has come down over the past century, but the number of females who are illiterate is also on a rise, which that is also to be highlighted here. And the practices such as female feticide and infanticide, which had become more prevalent during the contemporary times, are considered to be the most inhuman acts to the human being, in particular women. Like we know, the legal actions to stop it, we have the Prenatal Diagnostic Technique Act 1994, and later amendments are took place. But the awareness campaigns in support of female child, along with sex-selective abortions, are still on the rise. This is where we have a number of acts which are protecting or safeguarding the rights of women. But can we say that the sex-selective abortion or female feticide has totally been eradicated in our society, like the Sati system? When the Sati Act had been enforced, yes, it was for a particular time, it prevailed, and later on, the Sati system had totally been come to a nil. But there are other acts which are for safeguarding the rights of the women. But still, somewhere or the other, some corner or the others, we are hearing such incidents are still taking place. So this incidents towards preference for a male child had given rise for this female feticide to be, as well as female infanticide to be in practice in our society. The reasons for this continued liking over the centuries among people is the male child is getting importance in performing various customs and rituals which are to be conducted only by the male child. So with this societal setup, what has been given to us by the traditional culture The concerns regarding the lineage and inheritance are also so deeply entrenched in our minds that they influence to a greater or lesser extent the fertility behavior, including the sex selective abortions. This has to be noticed that even after increasing schooling level and increasing the age at marriage, young married women are restricted to put their overall ability in education and that in practice. That is where is to be highlighted. Yes, women are illiteracy level is coming down. People are becoming more literate, but whatever the level of literacy or the education they have attained, are they able to fulfill to that attained education? That is where again where the question arises. Still, they are being put into the domestic spheres. So the women mostly stay at home and they did their domestic work. And their mobility outside the domestic sphere is limited to the traditional customs alone. Moreover, they are allowed to take up jobs. Yes, that is also there. Some women who are educated are taking up jobs, no doubt, outside home. Then they are also, the responsibility also lies to household tasks, which is only shouldered to the women. This transformation in sharing of household tasks, yes, the modern gender, that is the current, I can call the present generations are demanding the better half also to share that household task, shouldering of responsibilities because of this performing this dual task. It's becoming overburdened to women. This is something a welcome aspect, but that does not take place to all women in general, in specific. Therefore, this culture and tradition, which had been the roots in the past, still legitimizes the gender stratification directly, which means through religious laws, and indirectly, which refers to rituals and symbols that reinforce the ideas of women's inferiority. Okay, this is where the rituals or symbols where she is supposed to perform, where at certain times she is put back to the place where she is from the day one. Legitimations provided by culture. We'll just see how the position of women in Indian history, it can be said that the fundamental principles of Hindu social organization is a close structure to preserve land, women, and ritual purity within it. The main reasons for son preferences is mainly based on the belief, which is mainly prevalent among certain caste groups, that only a child can give an appropriate obligations for the soul of their deceased parents. Such beliefs have also been found among other religious groups in India, and it is a main way to maintain the male dominance in all societal as well as the religious affairs. Culture of any society is a complex, no doubt, and must be taken into consideration that these elements of culture are subject to modification and the changes also become inevitable as culture itself is not a static entity. So here, when we define the male and female, maleness and femaleness are again culturally established. The society expects and encourages little boys to be more active and aggressive than the little girls. Little girls are expected and encouraged to be more polite, passive, and nurturing. So the socialization process, which starts from for the newborn child, getting its gender as male and female, are taught. It's been culturally assigned gender roles. It's from the day one it starts the child is being given it, is being imbibed by their parent, and that was specifically the mother as such. Here, the social group's expectations of behaviors, attitudes, and motivations as what is appropriate for a male or for a female. It's all the behavior, what they have, the attitudes, and how they are being motivated of who should perform what. So historically, when we see, religion had been one of the most significant sources for this cultural definition of gender roles. But the increasing awareness among people to move away from this meaningless cultural attitudes is also held responsible for the changes. We all know education is progressing, but this education should not be seen as a only prospect to get a good husband or a life partner. Instead, education should work as a means of spreading awareness about the utility of old cultural beliefs in today's societal setup. The women who are able to gather courage to stand against dowry, to stand against child marriage, and not a woman to be a spinster, not marrying at all prove that they have adopted modern attitudes and their positions have improved sustainably. Therefore, the changes in the attitude of people play a major role in the changing gender norms of the society. So it's only when the attitude of the people change, the role of changing the gender, what role the particular gender is performing, that also can change. There are various studies which have been conducted where gender injustice or gender inequality which are prevailing in our society. Just to quote for an example, in Tamil Nadu, a study conducted, it was identified the reasons for having a male and a female child, a single male and a single female child. The study highlighted that boys where you have a male child means a boy, he deserved for economic and social reasoning. Whereas if it is a girl child, she has been valued only for her affection and emotional support and household help and maintaining a good family. This is how the notions are still prevailing in the mindset of the people. Yes, it has changed for a group of people, I don't doubt at it, but still, this sort of scenario is also prevailing in our society. So, gender here refers to the social cultural factors which instruct us to behave in a certain masculine and feminine way based on our sex. If a person is born with a male body, he is expected to have more of muscle power, strength, logic, integrity, and passion. While if a person is born with a female body, she is expected to be affectionate, patient, loving, caring, and sensual without realizing the fact whether she is willing to accept that trait or not. So this differential treatment that mere birth of a person decide about his or her behavior for complete lifetime. This needs transformation. The birth of the child is not that alone is going to determine what are the other qualities which she is going to adopt or follow in her future. Yes, women are not weak or those who are subordinate in position. It's not because they do not possess the muscular strength. This notion have been proved wrong at every now and then, because women are achieving, they have achieved, and they will be achieving in future, which is not to be doubted at any circumstances. So coming to my conclusion part, based on all these outline. So this society of where we are living, or where we had been living for all these years, generations to generations, have transformed certain things to the next generation. So the interpretation of Indian culture is that women play a very important role. Yes, it's not the role that she is to be taking care of the family, nurturing the children, or just staying within the household. Yes, she has a bright future ahead. So this new notion regarding what constitutes culture, in which most of the practices which are considered as cultural practices, which are pertain to women's mobility, control of sexuality, for example, child marriage, parda, sati, and social death of widows. All these are to be totally eradicated to make her step in every field wherever she prefers to excel by her own choice and not through compulsion. So the most contradictory, or better to say, the most objectionable part, even in today's society, is the fact that power of the women is derived from attributes of motherhood and virginity instead of fertility or sexuality. A man's virginity and purity is never taken into account for participation in any ritual. But this traditional setup, which guides the woman about the rewards of higher status, which she can receive in her next life if she obeys to the rules and fulfill the requirements of women. This is where the obstacle as such is there for women in most of the families. A woman, she is treated, or she is capable of only performing certain functions. A man, certain things where a woman cannot enter. No, this mindset has changed, but still we have a group of population where who are traveling from the day one with the traditionality. Yes, following the traditionality is good, but certain societal norms and values are changing according to the transformation taking place in the society. So we have to travel along with that. That is where most of the researchers might be also interested to step into. Is the societal transformation had made the people in the roots of the village also to go ahead with that transformations. So here people are being socialized as per the way of thinking regarding gender roles. That is why they feel guilty if they fail to fulfill these obligations. A woman, if she is not in a capacity or not in a position to perform certain obligations, there is no need for her to feel guilty at any circumstances. Yes. Therefore, we should always keep in mind that the way of looking back of the past must be changed with new evidences and new perspectives. There is an urgent need to again build the complex relationship between the present day religious belief and the practices to the age old traditional beliefs. For a life of dignity and respect, there is an urgent need to understand the true meaning thought about the equality in our religious scriptures and giving equal status to everyone. So this legitimization, which has been provided by our scriptures regarding the lower status of women and subjugation of women, need to be revisited. By birth, every individual is equal, and their choice of work and not their sex at the time of birth, which becomes the basis of evaluation. the old age culture and tradition, which have lost the utility in the era of development and technology, has robbed the dynamism from Indian society and have paved way for subjugation of women in the name of patriarchal system. But at the same time, we have the Constitution with Article 15, which deals with right to equality. Apart from this right to equality, the same Constitution also contains articles dealing with categories of right, like right to freedom of religion and right to equality, all which have been embedded in various articles. I'm not going into the very depth of what is all being specified in the based on each articles, but is that equality we have, what the Constitution has given to us, have we achieved it? When are we going to achieve it? What is still stopping us to achieve right to equality? It is men or women, girl child or female child. Yes, she is equal in the God. She is equal in every person's point of view, or every person should look at her. Yes, she too has equal capabilities of that of a boy, or that a girl has all recognition or should not demand for the recognition. If she is still demanding, then this right to equality, yes, I say, it is not being, I can't say enforced. We have not attained yet. So the question which can be asked here, can a state which proclaims opposition to discrimination based on sex permit religious personal laws which affect the life of women in a basic manner? Because at the same time, the right to freedom of religion is also very clearly given in the Constitution. So it is this dilemma which needs to be addressed, and we also have to find solutions through which we can address the confusions which have been created by religious scriptures regarding the position of women. When I was mentioning, like, yes, the religious text, and from the ancient time, women had different scenarios, but that time the society was totally different. But presently, we are in a modern world. We are in a globalized world. We are in a technologically advanced world. So, but still, a percentage of women have developed. Nobody has stopped their development. Might be the generations have been educated, which is not being an obstacle for the development. But a society where we are to focus is a group of people who are still struggling to face certain development. There are still in universities and colleges where students are the first graduates. That means it's very well clear the family members have not stepped into a college, or still their parents are illiterates. So the focus of that category of people is to gain importance, and we have to work. So we in the sense, whichever platform we are, we have to step ahead for development to that group in particular, where we will be in a position to attain gender justice. Where gender inequality is there, we cannot talk about this concept of gender justice. So this conference on gender studies will be a platform to give the present societal scenario of how the society is it facing this gender inequality, or both the genders are equally in par in every aspect with they wanted to shine, or whatever the scenario is, where all the deliberations which will be done by the student community or the researchers will enlighten us to march ahead, where when a woman is empowered, means, yes, the entire family is empowered. The entire world as such will have a bright future. Thank you one and all for giving me this opportunity to share my point of view on this concept of gender inequality from a sociological perspective. Thank you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was indeed an enlightening session. You discussed the various issues that fuel gender inequality in India, and it is high time an affirmative action is taken. As though we have economic growth in India, there is gender disparity, and therefore there has to be an attitudinal shift so that women can be considered as equal within their homes and in broader society. We have got wonderful feedback from our students after your session. Thank you so much.